ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇವರಿಗೆ ನಡೆ ಚೆನ್ನ ನುಡಿ ಚೆನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಡಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆನ್ನ ಪ್ರಮಥರೊಳಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನ ಪುರಾತರೊಳಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನ ಸವಿದು ನೋಡಿ ಅಂಬಲಿ ರುಚಿಯಾಯ್ತೆಂದು ಕೊಳ್ಳ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವಂಗೆ ಬೇಕೆಂದು ಕೈ ತೆಗೆದ ನಮ್ಮ ಚೆನ್ನ. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಈವ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್. CA Ravindra Koreyer, Chairman of Bangalore branch of FCRA of ICI, wholeheartedly welcome you all. 90th Jnana Dasoha live webcast session from Bangalore branch. Today we are introducing a new young speaker from Bangalore branch. That is none other than CA Rahul Vasudev. Topic is on recent amendments in FCRA. On behalf of all the viewers and managing committee members of Bangalore branch, I wholeheartedly welcome CA Rahul for the today's session. Welcome you, Mr. Rahul.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Dear members, the Bangalore branch, they keep on continuing to having the webinars. So today, we have reached to the 90th session. The day we have started on 18th March, and after, due to 52nd Regional Conference of SR Chapter ICI, we have taken break to conduct the programs from 7th last session we have conducted on 7th December. And after 8-9 days gap, today we are arriving for the 90th session, and that is the important topic, recent amendments in FCRA. Our young member CA Rahul Vasudev is going to enlighten us all. It is a Jnana Dasoha always. The Jnana has to come from anybody. The age is not limit. So that is the motto of our Jnana Dasoha. Rightly, Mr. Rahul is going to address all the members. On behalf of managing committee members of Bangalore branch, I wholeheartedly welcome all the active viewers of Bangalore branch. Because of your activeness, all the programs are getting successful. Dear members, before I am handing over to the Mr. Rahul and Panindra, just a couple of announcements from Bangalore branch. Tomorrow we are having a session on GST critical issues, controversies surrounding aggregate turnover, section 16(2)(c), a precondition for availment of ITC, 16(4) time limit for availing ITC, Rule 36(4), restriction on availment of ITC, a new e-invoicing system. It's all going to be handled by the very experienced personality from Mumbai. Advocate Shailesh Seth is going to address. Kindly register for yourself. Once this session, today's session is concluded, we will sharing the link for tomorrow's session. After that, we are taking break again. 1990, we are having an international conference from our head office, so we are not conducting any programs. Then our moving to the next session will be on 22nd December. Professional opportunities for financing options for MSMEs and startups is going to be addressed by CA SS Nayak. And after that, the unique 2 days virtual conference for women chartered accountants been designed on 23rd and 24th December. It's a 7th Women CA conference from Bangalore branch. First time we are hosting it in virtual mode. And this year 2020 is ending on 30th December. We are having a session, Code of Ethics, from CA G. Shekhar, Central Council member of ICI, is going to address. After that, in January 2021, we are planning the initially 4 sessions, and after that, the Bangalore branch is reaching its 100th session, and we don't have the option to conduct the physical programs, so we kept it 100th program as our 17th state level conference, Ashtavarana. All 8 branches of Karnataka is joining together, and we are having 2 days conference on 17th, 15th and 16th January. Exactly 1 month after that. So till that, our all Jnana Dasoha will be, we are not charging. The nominal amount will be going to charge for this 15th and the 16th program. Hope our members will participate in that. We are trying, recently we are concluded the 52nd regional conference. That may not be in that much big and atmosphere, but with particular to Jnana Dasoha, definitely will serve whatever possible from the Bangalore branch. So that's all the announcement. So once again, I wholeheartedly welcome CA Rahul Vasudev for accepting our invitation and today addressing on amendments in the FCRA. Members, the FCRA is easy. The many members foreign, many of our existing clients or new clients, they may ask simply, I am able to issue some few funds or things. Uh, can I get it? So earlier days it was different. Now the days is different. The registration of FC under FCRA is a very difficult task. It's not like our ATG and 12A. So that's all things definitely Rahul is going to cover. And also I request Rahul to what's the professional authorities for the chartered accounts where they can serve, where they can guide if required to study any other foreign laws also. Please, I request you to highlight in that part also, Mr. Rahul. So with taking that note, I once again tomorrow, I have already mentioned the very important session also tomorrow, GST and critical issues by Sailesh Seth. With that note, I once again welcome CA Rahul and all the members for the today's session. I request CA Panindra to formally introduce the today's speaker. Over to Panindra.
Thank you, Kore sir. So to introduce today's speaker, CA Rahul Vasudevan is the youngest partner in Vinay and Kesava LLP Chartered Accountants. He has completed his articleship training in a firm and qualified as a chartered accountant. He is also a qualified information system auditor. He currently handles the CFO outsourced services, internal audit system, and forensic audits. He has acquired necessary skills and knowledge in hand-holding business to handle strategic matters in the most efficient manner. He is also a one-point contact for some of the key clients of the firm. He is a sports enthusiastic and also a trekker who has completed a couple of high-altitude Himalayan treks. So with this brief introduction, I wholeheartedly welcome today's speaker, CA Vasudeva, sir. And over to you, sir, for your deliberations.
Thank you very much, Panindra, for the introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the chairman of Bangalore branch, Mr. Ravindra Kore, for inviting me to share my knowledge on the recent FCRA amendments. I don't think any other branch in India has conducted these many online webinars on various topics. I would like to congratulate the chairman and the managing committee members for this great initiative even during the lockdown and the pandemic. In fact, ICI came up with so many certification courses during this lockdown. Anyone I ask, any of the colleagues or chartered accountants I asked, they were doing some or the other courses organized by the ICI. I hope all the members who have joined also have taken advantage of this, lockdown pandemic in updating their knowledge and upgrading their skill sets. The pandemic and lockdown taught us many things which we earlier thought was impossible or very, very difficult. One of the things is working remotely, conducting online audits, paperless office. We need to embrace technology and then, adapt to the changes. Otherwise, we'll be left far behind. So this pandemic and the lockdown has forcefully taught us, to move forward and embrace technology. During the lockdown, one best thing that happened was the Mahabharata series. We all watched it all over again. In one of the episodes, I heard Krishna saying, Balgayalli kottiro dana edgaigu gottagbardu anta. Meaning, the donation or the charity you do should not be publicized. If you think of donating something, then you should do it even before your left hand knows about it. Those days are gone now. There was nothing like FCRA then. Now, whether your left hand gets to know what you are donating with your right hand or not, the FCRA authorities will 100% get to know what donations you are receiving and how you are going to spend it. With this, let me shed some light on the FCRA and the amendments. Next slide. So this is how I have structured my talk today. First, I'll be covering the background and basic concepts. I don't think has the slide changed?
No, sir.
Rahul's slide is not changed.
sharing the screen. Let us see if it works now. Yeah. So this is how I have structured my talk today. First, I'll be covering the background and the basic concepts. I'll be, taking you through some of the key statistics. Then I'll go to the crux of the matter, that is the key amendments that have taken place in the FCRA Amendment Act 2020 and the rules that have recently got released. Then, for better understanding of the concepts, we will take up some FAQs and the do's and don'ts. Finally, I leave the floor open for any question and answer. Since this is a new act and a new law, I expect a lot of questions from the members. So I'll keep sufficient time for the Q&A session also. Next one. Yeah. So there is a wrong notion that FCRA is applicable only to the trusts and NGOs. This is absolutely not true. It is applicable even to individual companies, HUF, and any person who wants to receive wants to receive foreign contribution and spend it for the betterment of the society. So it is not restricted only to the trusts and NGOs. Usually, many companies will have normal international business transaction, selling and then receiving the foreign forex receipts for the sales and export of services. And as a one-off case to the customer to whom they are selling, he may make a contribution, he may make a foreign contribution for the purpose of CSR spending of the specific company. Even the banks may miss it, but this one-off donation that the Indian company is receiving from the foreign entity will be captured under the FCRA Act. This has to be reported. Either you need to take a prior permission for receiving this one-off donation, or you need to apply for a registration and take the registration. Even the banks may miss it sometimes. This was first introduced in the time of emergency in 1976. Basically, the whole purpose was, to check the foreign in social and political, economic and religious discussions in India. It was later amended in the 1984. A new law came in 2010. Now in 2020, we have the FCRA Amendments Act 2020. With every amendment, the law has become more stricter. Hence, it is absolutely not a surprise to us that the new law and the rules have brought in even more stringent provisions. So if you see the 2020 Amendment Act and the rules, there are so many restrictions, so many compliances that have to be taken care. It needs a lot of attention and it needs a lot of time understanding the law, understanding the requirements of the law, and how you need to comply before receiving and spending the foreign contribution. As I told you, I'll first take you through the basic concept. It is very important that we understand the purpose and the applicability of the Act before we go into the actual key amendment. Without knowing the basic concept, it will be difficult to understand the amendments that have taken place. So first is the purpose. Why was FCRA? What was the need for FCRA Act? It is to regulate acceptance and utilization of the foreign contribution and foreign hospitality also. Whenever you visit abroad, if you get any foreign hospitality, even that is covered under this Act. And the second one is prohibit activities which is detrimental to the national interest. If you remember, when Trump was elected, there was so much news on the foreign influence in the US elections. A lot of court cases were also filed again, alleging that the Russian involvement in the US elections. This FCRA Act is typically to prevent these kinds of situations, any external involvement in the 5 limbs of FCRA. Now let us see the applicability. It is applicable to the whole of India. The second point is important. Even the citizens of India who are staying abroad. Citizenship is important in FCRA, which I'll come and cover it later in my later slides. It is also applicable to associate branches or subsidiaries outside India of the companies or body corporates registered or incorporated in India. And usually what we think is foreign contribution, there is a common notion that it is only in terms of, funds or the amount. That is not the case. Any article that you receive, any security that you receive, even that is covered under FCRA. It is not applicable for personal gifts or for personal use if you receive from your relatives, but there is a threshold limit which I will be covering later. And it doesn't matter whether you receive in Indian rupees. This is most important. If a foreigner who comes to India gives a donation in Indian rupees, even this is treated as a foreign contribution. We tend to miss out on this very, very important aspect. If a foreigner who comes for conferences and he visits an NGO, if he wants to donate, if he is a foreign citizen, even that donation he may give in Indian rupees, but still it is covered under the FCRA Act and you need to disclose to the Ministry of Home Affairs. As I told you, any securities that you receive as a gift or donation, like whether it is a share, a scrip, stock, bonds, debentures, whatever marketable securities, those are covered under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. And whether you receive it directly or indirectly, there may be a case where your relative or any of your friend staying abroad, he may give it to his relative and then in turn it may come to you. You will be the ultimate beneficiary. So whether it is received directly or indirectly, in all the other laws we have seen, whether it is a direct relationship or indirect relationship, same thing applies here also. Whether you receive it directly or indirectly, it doesn't matter. It gets covered under the FCRA. You need to report it in the quarterly, annual returns that you file, and for the specific purposes for which it is received. Next. Some more concepts relating to FCRA. This is the abbreviation that you have to remember. CEERS, seeds. There are 5 limbs, as I told you, in the Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act: cultural, economical, educational, religious, and social. This is what seed stands for. So any trust, NGO, individual who wants to get a FCRA registration, his activity, his core activity should be in one of these 5 specific limbs of FCRA. Either he should be doing something relating to the culture of the specific state or the national, or some bringing up the economically backward section in terms of giving them short-term loans without interest and other things. Educational, we are all aware, providing education to the needy and the backward society. Religious, for the purpose of temples and church and other things, and generally for the social well-being of the society. Now, what is the authority which governs this act and the rules? It is the Ministry of Home Affairs. There is a special FCRA wing in the Ministry of Home Affairs which handles this FCRA Act and the rules and the compliances that the NGOs and the trusts make. Now, the commercial transactions. It is very important that you keep it in your mind throughout this webinar that we are not speaking about the normal commercial transactions here. For example, if foreign currency is received for sale of goods or services, we are not covering that here. That is a normal commercial transaction. That is not a foreign contribution or donation. In the entire webinar today, we are only covering the non-commercial transactions. We are concentrating only on this. I request the members who are attending to please keep this in mind throughout the webinar. Otherwise, it can create a lot of confusion when I'm explaining the amendments and the concepts. As I told you earlier, and at the sake of repetition, individual, HUF, association, society, company, it doesn't matter. Anyone can get a foreign contribution registration. It is a definite misconception that it is applicable only to NGOs and trusts. That's not true. It is applicable even to government companies also. Even they are not exempted. If they want to receive any foreign contribution for spending for the betterment of the society, even those government companies are have to take this registration. For example, this Vivek Oberoi did a lot of work in Tamil Nadu when the floods happened. He took the FCRA registration in his individual name. He got a lot of contribution and then he spent for the betterment of the society, rebuilding the city and other things. Next, this whole concept, this tracking of, foreign contribution, for those who have done the government audits, they will be aware. There is something called as PFMS, Public Finance Monitoring System. Even FCRA transaction and the designated FCRA accounts are captured in this PFMS. The bank is supposed to update this to ensure that the ministry has the required details whenever they need. So all the banks who have this FCRA designated accounts, they need to update in this PFMS so that the Ministry of Home Affairs gets the details, and then they reconcile with the quarterly and the annual returns that the registered assessees are filing. There are totally 62 commercial banks that are integrated in PFMS. You can find this link in the FCRA online website. The complete list is available, starting from SBI to the smallest bank. Most of the banks are covered under this. You can find the entire list in the FCRA online. So if you want to open an FCRA account, you need to go to these specific banks and do it. Yeah. So what is a foreign source? I'll be concentrating only on the highlighted points. The others are very simple. If you receive from a foreign country, it is considered as a foreign contribution. Even if you receive from a government agency, also it is considered. Any international agency, if you receive, that is also considered a foreign contribution, except there are specific exemptions for United Nations and some government agencies which are linked to United Nations. Specialized agencies, they have an exemption. So if you receive from UN or the specialized agencies, it does not get covered under the FCRA. What I have highlighted is what I am going to concentrate more on. A company in which more than 50% of the share capital is held by a foreign company, foreign government, or foreign individuals. This is most important. A company is incorporated in India under the normal provisions of the Companies Act 1956 or 2013, and its share capital more than 1/2 of the nominal value of the share capital if it is held singly or in aggregate by one or more of the following. That is, it can be from a foreign government, a foreign citizen, a company incorporated outside India. If they are holding more than 50% of the share capital of the Indian company, then whatever contribution you receive from such companies will be considered as foreign contribution. This is very, very important. This most of us tend to miss out. We have been getting so many notices for some of our trust. Once they get a notice, they are coming to us asking for resolution and compounding and other things. This is very difficult to make out because the company on the face, when you receive the donation, you will only see the company name. It is registered in India. You will take it as a local receipt. Very rare that the trusts go into the share capital or ask the company who is donating whether more than 50% of your share capital is held by foreign nationals. So this you need to keep it in mind. Next concept is the concept of multinational corporation. A multinational corporation is a corporation which is incorporated in a foreign country and it has its subsidiary branches in 2 or more other countries. This is a multinational corporation. I repeat, it is incorporated in a foreign country and it has transactions or business in 2 or more other territorial countries. So this is covered. So one thing that you receive from this multinational corporation, it will be treated as a foreign contribution. And you need to declare and do the filing for those things. Next is the foreign hospitality. Foreign hospitality, usually, the regulator or the authority is not so strict on this foreign hospitality because mainly you will tend to receive whenever you travel abroad, you stay in a relative's house. So, it is very difficult to track, or even if you track it, it doesn't basically have any difference. So they are slightly, if I can say, not too strict on this aspect of foreign hospitality. And one more thing I forgot to inform you, if you receive from a foreigner, I think I covered, a foreigner donating in Indian rupees is also a foreign source that I told you. Next is prohibitions. From whom or who cannot receive any foreign contribution. a candidate who is standing for an election, a correspondent or a columnist in a editor or an owner or publisher of a registered newspaper, even they cannot receive foreign contribution because it may lead to a situation of changing the public perspective. So they are also not supposed to receive foreign contribution. A judge, a government employee, or any corporation or any other body controlled by the government, even they cannot receive. An MLA, MP, I told you, any member of any legislation, they are not supposed to receive foreign contribution. A political party, even an office bearer of a political party, most important, even they are not supposed to receive any foreign contribution in their individual name. A company engaged in audio news or visual news or any other mode of mass communication, they are not supposed to receive foreign contribution. If you have any clients in these categories, you need to be careful and ensure and educate the client that they are not supposed to receive any foreign contribution in their specific individual capacity, or in case of a political party, in the capacity of a party. Now let us look at some statistics that are there. On the left hand side, if you see the pie graph, the green color represents the FCRA's registrations which are active today. The pink color, that is the light red, it signifies the number of cancelled registrations as of today. If you see the total FCRA association, there are 49,861. Among the 20,674 associations have lost their FCRA registration. It has been cancelled for one reason or the other. On the right hand side, you can see the number of new FCRA registration that have been handed out by the Ministry of Home Affairs. You see the declining trend here. The new registrations are coming down day by day. That is, the process is stringent and there are a lot of rejections when you apply the foreign contribution regulatory to the regulatory authority. Only in genuine cases, only if they are satisfied with the complete documentation and the core activity that they are doing, they will allot you the foreign contribution registration. Since Modi government has come into power in 2014, the Ministry of Home Affairs has cancelled FCRA registration of total 14,800 NGOs. So out of the 20,000, 14,800 registration cancellations have happened from 2014 itself. Just take the last year. If you take 2019, FCRA registrations of 1,800 NGOs were cancelled for some or the other kind of violation. So the reason why I am showing you this chart and highlighting the number of registration is the importance of keeping proper records for receipt of foreign contribution, reporting, return filing under the foreign contribution. Otherwise, I am afraid the client will lose the registration or face some kind of penalties or suspensions. That is the main reason why I am highlighting the statistics of the cancelled registrations. Next. Totally around 16,881 crores. That is the total foreign contribution received by all the NGOs, trusts, individuals who are registered under FCRA. If you average, it will come to almost around 50 crore rupees per day. That is the total amount of foreign contribution that all the FCRA registered associations in India receive. And you'll be surprised, approximately 85% of the foreign contributions received is by Christian institutions. Now, the major countries, if you see my fourth point, the major countries donating are USA, UK, Europe, Australia, Africa, New Zealand. So the major population there are Christian. So naturally, the 85% of the total foreign contribution received by India is to the Christian institutions, and the balance 15% is received by other FCRA registered institutions. And the top 10 countries, which some of the names which I took, they contribute to almost 75% of the total foreign contribution. Why I'm telling you this is, if any of your client receives a donation from other than these countries, you need to be double sure. That itself is a red flag first. You need to be double sure, you need to double check the documents because it is coming from a country which usually does not donate, which is where the citizens usually does not donate to Indian, FCRA registered associations. The earlier FCRA 1976 had 32 sections, 9 rules, and now naturally the rules and sections have increased. Next. Now, this is the core of our webinar today, the key amendments. The Minister of State for Home, Nityananda Rai, in his statement to the Parliament, he said, it is intended to bring about greater transparency and not against any NGO or an attack on the religion or any community. This was a statement in the Parliament when this bill was introduced. There is always another side of the coin. They argue that it is a complete witch hunt by the government. They completely want to, demotivate the NGOs. That is the argument on the other side. Now let us look at the key amendments one by one. I'll give you a brief of what exactly the amendment is and what are the repercussions of these amendments may have. These are individual views, looking at the amendment, what the repercussions that it can have, each amendment. First one is the Darpan ID. You'll be very surprised to know that, this Darpan ID, concept of Darpan ID is not mentioned in the FCRA Act or the rules. It is come in the form, it is only mentioned in the forms that you are supposed to file with the FCRA. It is not mentioned in the rules nor in the Act. Only in the forms they ask you to fill up the Darpan ID. Now, Darpan ID, where can you get? You can get the Darpan ID in this NGO Darpan. There is a platform. There is a platform called NGO Darpan. It comes under Niti Aayog. So from there, you need to get the Darpan ID. Otherwise, you will not be able to file any form. Every form is asking this specific Darpan ID. And NGO Darpan is a platform that provides a space for interface between the voluntary organization NGOs and the government department. So if you want to receive any grant in aid from the government departments, you need to have the Darpan ID. So same that Darpan ID, they have integrated it to the FCRA also. Later, it is proposed to cover all the central ministries and the department. Currently, only few ministries are covered under this Darpan ID. Later, all the other departments will be, covered. You can go to this ngo.darpan.gov.in. You will get the complete details of this. Now, the next amendment created a lot of uproar, confusion, debate, discussions, and whatnot. There was a lot of commotion among the NGO community regarding this. Change in the designated FC account. All the NGOs have byhearted this address. SBI, New Delhi, main branch, number 11, Sansad Mark, New Delhi. Even if you wake up the trustee at the end of the night and ask him, he will, in his, sleep, he will be telling SBI, New Delhi, number 10, number 11, Sansad Mark, New Delhi, 11000011. Now, what is this change? Earlier, the registered FCRA, they could have the FCRA designated account in any of the scheduled banks. Now they have mandated that you have to open an account only in this specific branch of SBI, that is the New Delhi branch. They have made a specific wing there, and you have to open your FCRA designated account there. You cannot receive any foreign contribution in any other bank account except this SBI account that you have to open. They have given sufficient time. The new FCRA designated account in SBI main branch, you have to open on or before 31st March 2021. Please note this down. 31st March 2021 is the last day for all the FCRA registered associations to open a bank account there. From 1st April 2021, you cannot receive any foreign contribution in your existing FCRA account. I hope this is very, very clear. It is, if you go ahead and open the FCRA account in SBI the next month, for example, let us imagine you open on 30th December, you open. From the, date of opening SBI account, you are not supposed to receive any FCRA foreign contribution in the designated account. So there is a lot of planning that needs to go in. You need to plan this properly, because all the donors, you have to inform the donors, to change the beneficiaries. They have to change in the specific country, in the specific bank. There may be a lot of procedures for them to change the beneficiary. So they need to change it to SBI New Delhi, your bank account, so that they can as soon as you open the SBI account, they can transfer it to the SBI account, designated account. You shouldn't end up in a situation where you open the SBI account, but your donors are not informed, so you cannot even receive it in your current designated account. Neither can you receive it in SBI, because the donor is not added as a beneficiary. All the projects on the ground will get stuck if you do this mistake. So the proper planning has to be done. Please note that a very important point: you cannot receive FC in existing designated account from the date you open the SBI account. You have to open within 31st March and use that account. Or if you open, as I told you, on 30th December, from the date of opening, you cannot receive in your existing FCRA account. You need to receive in the SBI account itself. I am repeating it for the sake of convenience, so that you have a complete clarity on this concept. They release the standard operating procedures also. There is no need to visit the New Delhi branch to open this account. So there was, as I told you, a lot of discussion took place. If you have an account in Delhi, how can the NGOs and the trusts elsewhere in the country operate an account in Delhi? They cannot visit the branch, and locational disadvantage, all those things. So the SOP clarifies these things. There are online forms available. The local branch will check the documents and intimate the FCRA wing that the documents are okay. And once they confirm, your new FCRA account will be open in the SBI branch. From the online account of SBI, you can download the form for opening an account in New Delhi. But your document verification will be done in the local SBI branch. They have listed out specific SBI branches throughout the country where the document verification will take place. So that branch will check the documents and confirm to the New Delhi main branch that the documents are okay, and then they will give a go ahead for opening the new account. As I told you, the SOP was released on 20th November. They have created a separate FCRA wing on the first floor of this main branch. And they have also, clarified internet banking facility for this account can be obtained. This was, one of the main requests of many of the trusts and associations. Because the bank account is in Delhi, they asked for an internet. Usually, these trust banks are not willing to give internet banking facility to many of the trusts, because they, call it as a, risky category. It falls under the risky category tag, so they don't give internet banking facility for some of the trusts that we handle. But in this case, for your FCRA designated account in SBI, since it is in New Delhi, they have offered to give the internet banking facility also. They've also clarified that no fees shall be charged to transfer the designated account to any other account, whether the utilization account or the other designated account that you. They have in the SOP, you can see they have given the mail IDs, they have given the contact numbers also. There is also a grievance cell where you can write in case the things are not moving quickly. So they have taken due precaution to ensure that the person applying the new account is not put under any hardship. So there are three accounts. If you see in FCRA, there are three accounts. One is the designated bank account. Another, it is called another bank account. The second category is called another bank account. And the third category is called utilization bank account. It is very important that we understand the concept of this. Designated bank account, as I told you, you have to open only in SBI, New Delhi branch. There is no other go. Now, what is this other bank account that we are talking about? You can retain the existing designated account. Every FCRA registered organization already has a designated account in various banks and branches across the country. So this existing account, you can retain, call it as another bank account, as what the FCRA is calling, and link this account to the main SBI account. So all the NGOs who have an emotional connect with the bank account can retain this. There are many people, who follow astrology. They want the same vehicle numbers for, all the vehicles that they own. And similarly, I also know some of the banks came up with this concept of, choose your account number. I think IDFC bank came up with that concept where the customers were, allowed to choose their bank account. So they chose all the lucky numbers, whoever wanted, they chose those numbers. So any emotional connect like this, if your designated bank account, you can retain that as and call it as another account and link it to the SBI. The third category is the utilization bank accounts. If you have different projects in different cities, you can open utilization account. There is no restriction on the number of utilization accounts. If you have 100 projects, you can open 100 utilization bank accounts. If you have 200 projects, you can open 200 different utilization accounts. There is absolutely no restriction on this. Only thing that you need to do is you need to open it in a scheduled bank. As I told you, 62 banks are integrated. So any one of the bank, you need to open the utilization account. So if you see, first you have the designated account in SBI. And if you choose, you can retain your existing, FCRA account, and then you have the utilization account. So you receive the foreign contribution to the SBI account in New Delhi. Then you can transfer it to your existing designated account and then distribute it to various utilization accounts. Or you can ignore the second step. You can directly receive everything in SBI New Delhi or the foreign contribution, and from directly there you can distribute it to all the utilization accounts. This is the concept. Now the next amendment is the prerequisite for registration. What is this 3 years and 15 lakhs? I have also extracted a snapshot there from the act itself. You should have been in existence for minimum 3 years. Anyone who wants to apply for a FCRA registration should have been in existence for minimum 3 years. Any trust, NGO, company who wants to apply registration, they should have been in existence for minimum 3 years, and they should have spent a minimum of 15 lakh on the core activity during the 3 years. Please remember, there are 5 limbs. So your core activity, in whichever limb it falls, you should have spent 15 lakhs minimum towards that core activity, not for any other activity. And there is a specific exemption they have given in exceptional cases. They have provided that the central government in exceptional cases can waive off this requirement of 3 years or 15 lakhs, but I don't foresee that happening. They will probably insist on having this 3 years and 15 lakh requirement. And if you see in one of the forms 3A, the first point itself captures this. The 3A is the form for registration. So the first point in that itself captures this point. Have you been in existence for 3 years, attach the various documents, and then have you spent minimum 15 lakh, give details of that, for which category have you done. So this is the first point. Earlier, this was not the case. In the earlier law, it just said you should have conducted reasonable activity. So they had left it open. After all this, even after so many stringent provisions, if you are successful in getting a FCRA registration, I think you should throw a big party to your client and all the well-wishers, because it is looks like the act and the rules have made it so difficult to get a FCRA registration. Now, the next amendment is regarding the prohibition. We saw the various points or the type of persons who are not supposed to receive foreign contribution, who are prohibited from receiving foreign contribution. They have added a word public servants to this list. So what does this happen? So it brings a wide range of individuals. Now, earlier they had listed specific things. Now they have included a general word of public servants. Public servants includes, the government employees of the public sector undertaking, the officers of the military, navy, air force, police, judges, officers of the local authority established under the state or central act. Now everyone is forbidden from receiving foreign contribution. If you are, if you fall under that category of public servants. Next one is a blanket ban on the transfer of foreign contribution to any other person. Earlier, the transfer to other FCRA registered person was allowed. If any other association had an FCRA registration, you were allowed to transfer it earlier. And to the non-FCRA registered person, you could have taken a permission from the central government and transferred. That provision was also available in the earlier law. Now, after the amendment, nothing doing. There is a complete ban on the transfer of foreign contribution to any other person. You receive, you utilize for the specific purposes for which you have received. You cannot transfer it to anyone else. Now, what are the repercussions of this? This could impact collaborations, especially for the small grassroots organizations. You know, all the big NGOs that are there, they are dependent on small grassroots level organizations for better implementation of the project and better monitoring of the project, because they cannot have a presence everywhere. So they would have, have collaborations, tie-ups with smaller group organizations throughout the country to ensure that the scheme or the specific contribution that they want to make reaches the intended places in the remote places of the country or the state. Now, you were earlier receiving and then giving it to some other organization who were implementing on the ground. Now the situation, since they have told you not to, you cannot give it to any other organization. Now what to do? You have to take all those employees on your roll because you cannot transfer. This is one of the options I'm telling you. You have to take all those employees on board and do it in your own trust name from which has an FCRA registration. Why the smaller organization cannot, take an FCRA? That is one of the questions. So small organization, what happened? They are restricted to a very small place and they do not meet the criteria that is required to obtain an FCRA registrations. They do not have access to funders abroad. So, that is the, like a barrier or a bottleneck that is there for the small organization to get a FCRA registration. And usually, the small grassroots organization, you cannot expect them to have the track record or meet the criteria to get the FCRA registration. So they were dependent on or collaborated with the bigger organization for the implementation. Now, all these things is going to become a problem. We have to, see how the trusts and NGOs are going to overcome this restriction. Next. Administration expenses reduced to 20%. Earlier, out of the total fund contribution received, you could have spent 50% of it towards administration expenses. Your rentals of the head office, your salary for the management level people and other things. Now they have brought it down to 20%. Now what is the impact of this? This can hinder efforts on the internal capability building of the organization, attracting the relevant talent and focus on innovation of the non-profit. So all this is going to become a problem because you need to manage all these things in the 20% bracket itself. You have to note that there is a specific, if any specific expenditure is directly incurred for furtherance of the stated objects, then it is not an administrative expenses. For example, if you are running a hospital, then the salary that you pay to a doctor who treats the patients, that you cannot say it as an administration expenses because it is for the specific purpose. So even though it is a salary, since it is paid to a doctor who is furthering the specific object, that is not an administrative expenditure. It is it is a very thin line. Even in the normal businesses or the audits that we do, we face this. For example, a restaurant industry, there are so many common employees. They do both administrative services as well as the services in the specific restaurant itself. It is advised to keep it separate, absolutely separate, maintain separate. If you have the columns of administration expenses, the specific project expenditure, at the beginning itself, you need to determine what exactly administration expenses. You need to make a separate track, and you need to track it on yearly basis, on monthly basis. You need to track it to ensure that it does not cross 20 lakhs. Because once it crosses 20 lakhs, you cannot do anything. You cannot, take back, the check that is paid or the expenditure that is incurred. So on monthly basis, you need to track it and then ensure that it is well below the 20% threshold limit that the government has given. Next one is the Aadhaar submission that is being made mandatory for all the office bearers, directors, and you have to mention this in the registration application, permission application, or the renewal application also. All the trustees, the members that are there, you need to, ensure that you get their Aadhaar number, have all the details in place before you go, even when you file the annual returns, they're asking this. And in case, because Aadhaar is restricted only to Indian citizens, in case you have a foreigner on your board as a trustee, then you need to take the passport or the OCI card. So they have allowed this. If you have a foreigner, you have to get a passport or the OCI card. Now, what are the repercussions of this being, of Aadhaar being made mandatory? Some of the experts and advisors, they are doing pro bono services for the trusts and NGOs. They are not taking any remuneration or any professional charges for this. They may be skeptical to share their Aadhaar details. There are few people, who are hesitant to share their Aadhaar details, PAN details, and other things. So the NGOs may be deprived of the knowledge and skills that these experts would bring in. Sorry. And next one is the annual due date extension. Every year, the due date was 31st December. That was the due date for, filing the annual return. Now they have extended it to 30th June 2021. This circular was, issued very recently on 23rd November 2020. They issued this circular. So there is an extension of 6 months. Because the FC4 is revamped completely and there are so many additional details they are asking, they have given this additional, time. When we will go through the form FCRA in detail and we'll be able to understand the, kind of details that they are asking. Restriction in utilization of the foreign contribution. This is clarificatory in nature. In case of a violation, the government can restrict the unutilized amount also and unreceived foreign card. If you are supposed to receive anything, they can put a hold on that, or even the unutilized amount also, they can put a hold on that you cannot utilize unless you, satisfy the violation that you have made or overcome the violation that you have made. Earlier, you could have utilized with the permission of the government. In case of, any violation, even if there was a violation, you could utilize with the permission of the government. Now the government has restricted this. There is no question of utilization. They will put a hold on the unutilized amount also in case there is a violation. Next one is the suspension of registration. Earlier, they had the powers to suspend your registration for 180 days. Now they have the powers to extend it for additional 180 days. So total 180 plus 180 days. That is the time or the number of days for which they can, suspend your registration. So you have to be very, very careful. In case of a smallest of violation, they have these powers of suspension, and all your projects on the ground will get affected for 180 plus 180 days. It will get affected. Next one is regarding the renewal of registration. Earlier, it was only procedural, this renewal of the FCRA registration. You could fill up a form and upload the documents and you would get the renewal certificate. Now, the change allows the central government to initiate fresh inquiry into the workings of the applicant before they grant the renewal of the registration. Therefore, the renewal process will be subject to the same level of scrutiny as they used to carry out at the time of obtaining the initial registration or the approval. Voluntary surrender of the registration. Infosys Foundation, about, I don't remember the exact time, about a year back or 2 years back, they voluntarily surrendered their FCRA registration. Infosys Foundation had an FCRA registration and they voluntarily surrendered, returned to the government, voluntarily surrendered it. There was no specific form or there was no specific provision allowing a voluntary surrender. So after the Infosys incident, they have brought in this specific provision telling that any FCRA registered association can voluntarily surrender the registration if you do not want to receive any more foreign contribution and work with local contribution itself, or you want to close down the association. Next slide is, it's not appearing. I think the next slide is not. No, the next slide is not coming. Not able to do it. Okay, I'll continue by the time the screen changes. So basically, all the forms earlier that were there, all the forms are changed. There are totally 10 forms now. I'll briefly, run through one by one. FC1, that is the first form. It is for intimation of FC by way of a gift from a relative by an individual. Or if you receive any securities or articles from a foreign source, then you declare under this specific form, FC1. So this is the form for receiving of gift from a relative individual, or if you receive a securities and an article. Next form is FC2. FC2, it is for seeking prior permission from the central government to accept foreign hospitality. As I told you earlier, if you visit a foreign country, if you are staying in your relative's house, if you receive foreign hospitality, then you need to declare, intimate the government under this specific form FC2. However, there is a specific exemption. In case of medical emergency, the intimation can be given within 1 month of acceptance of the foreign hospitality. If there is no prior permission required in case of medical aid, if within 1 month from receiving, you can intimate the government using form FC2. Yeah, you can see the new forms on the screen now. So next one is the FC3A. This is for the fresh registration. For the fresh registrations, you need to apply in this form. As I told you earlier, minimum 3 years requirement should be there. 15 lakhs you should have spent on your core activity. Only then you will be getting in FCRA registration. You need to apply in this form. Next one is for a prior permission. There is a difference between registration, getting an FCRA registration and getting a prior permission. If an organization or an NGO, if it is set up for a short period, only for a specific project, a time-bound project. For example, whenever there is a flood or an earthquake and some NGO wants to receive foreign contribution and help the people and reconstruct the houses that have been damaged, then they can go for a prior permission instead for a registration, because this is for only for that specific purpose. So you get a prior permission for receiving a few foreign contribution for specific purpose. After that, they will give it for a specific period, and after that, there is no, there is no requirement for closure, filing, and other thing. It is only for a limited period. FC3 is for renewal. The amendments and the renewal process, as I told you, have been very, very stringent. You should ensure that you do not have any penalties or non-compliances earlier. All your returns should have been filed in time to ensure that you get a renewal. So you have to apply in FC3C. This is the form for renewal. Now the next form is very, very important, FC4. This is the form where we file the annual returns. Certificate to be given by a chartered accountant. This is also covered here. Whatever we certify, that is also covered on this FC4. This is the main form where every single detail is asked. Let us run through this form FC4 just to understand what are the kind of information that they are asking. There is a lot of information that they are asking from the trustees, and hence that is why they have given time till June 2021 to file your returns. The rules which contain the revised form, they were announced on 10th November. So I would like to open that specific FC4 so that we can run through the clauses. The first is the basic detail, the name, registration number, other things. Next page. I have highlighted the important points. Yeah, here. So the donor-wise details, as I have told you, you have to maintain every foreign contribution that you receive. Donor-wise details you have to maintained, and all these things, the address of the donee, the details, the website, the email ID, and the specific purpose for it which it is received, all these things have to be maintained. Please note, you have to get this information at the time of receipt of the donation, because there is quarterly filing itself. This is the annual form. Even in quarterly filing, they are asking these details. So at the end of the year, you cannot run for getting these details. Whenever you receive the foreign contribution itself, you have to ensure that you get all these details. Next, scroll down. Details of activities or projects for which the foreign contribution is received. Project wise, activity wise, you need to give the details. How much for that specific project or activity, how much you received, how much was spent during the year, what is the unutilized amount, what is the balance, etc. The administration expenditures, as I told you, cannot exceed 20% of the total foreign contribution received. So this is what has to be mentioned here. What is the total administration expenditure that you have incurred during the year? Next one. Yeah. So this is a fresh insertion again. Any fresh assets that you purchase using this foreign contribution, if you have purchased any fixed asset, any fresh asset, then you need to give for which project or activity details of the specific asset that you have purchased and the objective of that and the cost of that. So even the asset details you have to give. The foreign contribution transferred to other persons on or before 29/9/2020. So why have they mentioned specifically in the form itself the date? If you remember, you are not supposed to receive, or sorry, you were not supposed to transfer to any other person after this specific date. So the notification was with effect from 29th September 2020. So before that, you were allowed to transfer it to other associations. So the details of that they are asking here. Next one. Details of the unutilized foreign contribution. This is an arithmetical work that you have to do, but you have to maintain it product wise and donor wise. You need to keep the details so that you have a specific unutilized amount for each activity or period. Yeah. Details of foreigners as a key functionary working and associate. Remember, you need to get the passport or the OCI card if you have foreigners as the key beneficiaries. Any trust, association or NGO having foreigners, there will be, again, that is a red flag for the Ministry of Home Affairs. They are going to go into the details of it, into the background of the foreigner who is on board. So you need to ensure that you have the complete details of the specific foreigner who is on the board of the trust of the company which has FCRA registration. Details of the land and building remaining unutilized for more than 2 years. This was never asked before. Land and you need to identify all the land and buildings which have remained unutilized for more than 2 years. The year of acquisition, why was it acquired, and the reason for unutilization also they are asking. Why is it that you kept it unutilized? The specific reason also they will be asking, and once you give the reason, they can come back and ask clarification with respect to the justification of the reasoning that you have mentioned in the form FC4 of the annual returns. If you notice, this designated, the 7th point is the details of the FCRA account. This is the designated account. It is pre-filled. Since you are filing in 30th June, due date is 30th June 2021, it is already pre-filled. You cannot have any other account as designated account. As I told you, your FCRA designated account should be in SBI Bank New Delhi branch. So they have already pre-filled this. You cannot edit. Another account, the concept of which I already explained, your existing, before opening SBI, what your existing FC account is the another account. If you wish to maintain that as another FCRA account, you need to give the details of that specific account here. Next, you will have the details of the utilization bank accounts. I see that a lot of trusts and associations, even though they are transferring the money for various to various bank accounts and spending from there, they have not updated their FCRA records. Originally, whatever they have filed, only those bank accounts are appearing as utilization bank accounts. The new accounts where they are transferring, they have not categorized and registered in the FCRA portal. Please be very, very careful. This is calling for, danger. You are not on the right track. You need to first update the FCRA. You need to log in and, file the specific form for updating the utilization bank accounts. Now, the 8th point is very, very interesting. It is like a scrutiny that is taking place. They have asked 15 questions. Specifically, they have asked 15 questions. Can you scroll down? I have highlighted just to give you a feel of, what are the kind of questions they are asking. It is a yes or no question, but the moment you say yes, you need to give the details. So technically, your answer to all these questions should be no. Not that just that the answer should be no, the trust should have, not violated, and hence the answer should be no. Any foreign contribution was transferred to non-FCRA registered association. As I told you, that was not allowed. So in case the moment you say yes, it is a red flag. They are going to come back and start the penal provisions or the proceedings or go forward with the cancellation. Any domestic contribution has been credited in the FCRA account. FCRA account is meant only for receiving foreign contribution. You cannot go and deposit cash there. Any local contribution, there should be no other receipts in this FCRA account. The association has utilized foreign contribution for any purpose other than the defined purpose. As I told you, there are specific 5 limbs, as I explained to you, CEERS. So in case you have utilized the foreign contribution for any other purpose, then the chartered accountant is not going to agree with you. Whoever the professionals who are auditing, we should say yes and qualify the report if they are utilized for any other purpose. Has the trust or NGOs invested the foreign contribution received for specific speculative activity, investment in shares, investment in intraday trading, investment in mutual funds? So if any trust or association has done this, then it is a big red flag. You are not supposed to do is FCRA foreign contribution. It has to be utilized only for that specific purpose. Next. It's not scrolling down. I think there are a few other points. We can come back to the main presentation PPT. So just to get a, give you a feel of, what exactly they are asking in the FC4. What are the kind of details they are asking? I wanted to run through the FC4 form itself so that you get a feel of it and understand the kind of details that they are asking, so that you can be ready, with the details within the due date of 30th June for all your clients, and tell the clients at least to maintain this document before you go for this FCRA audit and for certification. That is FC4 that we spoke about. Next is the FC5. It has not come back to the PPT. FC5 is missing. Why is that? That was for application of seeking permission for foreign contribution to other unregistered person. Now, since that is not allowed at all, they have done away with this form. FC5 form is not there now. The form 6A is for change of name and address. 6B is for change of nature and aims and objectives of the trust. 6C is the change of designated FC account. So if you, now there is no question actually, but there is something called as another bank account, which the concept I have explained earlier. So if you want to change the another bank account, then you need to, file this form 6C. Then for changing the utilization bank account or adding another utilization account, it is 6C. At the sake of repetition, please ensure that the current utilization accounts are correctly updated in the FCRA portal. You cannot transfer contribution to any other non-utilization bank account. You cannot do it. So you have to first ensure that it is captured as utilization account in the FCRA portal, and then you need to transfer money to that and then utilize. Now the FAQs. Wait for the slide is not. Manish, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Manish,
It seems you have a network issue. Getting disconnected.
you're able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
So Nikita is not able to present. I think she's presentation rights is not there. She is not able to share the screen.
Updated, sir.
Updated, yeah. Can you try now? Able to do? Sir? And I will try to share the screen because she's not able to do it. Okay.
You can try now, sir. Sharing.
Yeah, yeah. To see this?
Yes, I can see the screen, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So if we finished all this, now it is the FAQs. So this is for better clarity, as I told you, for better clarity and understanding of the concept. I have captured some of the important FAQs. So can a foreign contribution be received in rupees? I already explained this before. Yes, even if it is in rupees, it can be treated as a foreign contribution if it is received from a foreign citizen, a foreign company. Even if it is received in rupees, it will be treated as a foreign contribution. Whether donation given by a non-resident Indian is treated as a foreign contribution, there is a very, very interesting question. Non-resident Indian, as I told you, under FCRA, the citizenship is important. If he is an Indian citizen and if he is residing abroad, then it will not be treated as a foreign contribution. So that citizenship is important. Even if he is an Indian, it means he was born in India, and if he has a citizenship of USA or New Zealand, then it will be treated as foreign contribution. So the citizenship, just you have to ensure that he is an Indian citizen. So to ensure that, what we advise our clients is to take passport. So if he's having an Indian passport, then we can say that he is an Indian citizen, and it will not be treated as a foreign contribution. Whether donation given by an individual of an Indian origin and having foreign nationality is treated as a foreign contribution. The answer is yes. The foreign remittances received from a relative are to be treated as a foreign contribution as per FCRA Act. As I told you, it will not be treated, but there is a threshold limit. There is a limit of 1 lakh rupees. If you cross that one, the total receipt of foreign contribution received as gifts, if it exceeds 1 lakh rupees during the financial year, then you need to intimate in that specific form to the Ministry of Home Affairs. So, you cannot receive iPhone 12 Pro as a gift. You need to intimate. So, your iPhone 12 Pro is gone now. Don't tell any of your relatives to get your iPhone 12 Pro because you need to declare to the government. Will the fees paid by foreign delegates, participants for attending or participating a conference will be treated as a foreign contribution and thus requiring permission from the FCRA? The answer is no. There is a specific exemption for this. Foreign students who are studying in educational institutions, and there are other few points also. There is specific exemption for this. If you go to the Act, you will be able to make out. So the answer is no. There is a specific exemption, and it will not be treated as a foreign contribution. whether a company incorporated in India under the Companies Act and having operations in 2 or more countries is to be treated as a MNC. Incorporated in India and having branches abroad in 2 or more countries, if you receive from them, it will not be treated as an MNC and consequently it will not be treated as a foreign contribution. However, if a company is incorporated outside India and has operations in 2 or more countries, that will be treated as MNC and it will be treated as a foreign contribution. So where it is incorporated is important. Can a private limited company or a partnership firm get registration or prior permission under the FCRA Act? 100% they can give. It is not restricted to only NGOs and trusts. 100% they can, a company registered or a partnership firm can get an FCRA registration, even individual HUF, society, association, whatever name, you can get an FCRA registration. Whether foreigners can be appointed on the boards as an executive committee member of an association seeking registration for prior permission. Exceptional special permission should be required, and that's why they are asking the special details there in the form. You need to give the detail. Only with prior permission you are allowed to do it. Whether government judges, servants, employees of a governmentally owned or controlled company body can become an executive committee members on the boards of the association. 100% they can become. In their individual capacity, please note they cannot receive foreign contribution. Government servants, judges, officers of the military, air force, navy, and public servants. In their individual capacity, they cannot receive any foreign contribution. But nothing stops them from being on the board of a trust. And organizations, if have a checklist of these things to ensure that you do not violate any of the provisions. Can foreign contribution be invested in mutual funds or any other speculative investment? Absolutely no, you cannot invest in any mutual funds or specific this one. Now we'll move on to the important do's and don'ts. So this is the last aspect of my presentation today. What are the do's? To intimate any change in the utilization bank account, name, address, aims and objectives within time. So there are specific timelines that are given, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days for various changes. So you need to be aware of that and ensure that you intimate the Ministry of Home Affairs to about the changes. Otherwise, as you saw, the penal provisions and they can go to the extent of cancelling your registration itself. Receive foreign contribution only from a legitimate source and for the specific activities prescribed under the Act, that is the 5 limbs, and from a legitimate source. So they are not a banned organization. That's the intention. Maintain separate accounts and records exclusively for the foreign contribution received and utilized for which registration is sought. There are many trusts and organizations who receive foreign contribution as well as local contribution. You need to keep the books separate. And it is a suggestion that you do not have any common employees also for this. It should be crystal clear so that you do not face any problems. Only in exceptional cases you can have a common employee or shared expenses and other things. Otherwise, it is better any day to keep the foreign contribution accounts records separately from the normal local contributions. Apply to central government 6 months before the expiry of the certificate. That is for the renewal, you need to apply within 6 months. Intimate within 30 days of receipt of foreign contribution in excess of 1 lakh. As I told you, any gift in excess of 1 lakh received from foreign source, you need to intimate the government. And one more note is they are not so strict on this aspect. It is not strictly regulated. This specific aspect of foreign hospitality or receiving of gifts is not strictly regulated unless the value of the gift is huge. Now, what are the don'ts? Do not mix the foreign contribution with domestic receipts. I've already told you the reasons. Do not deviate from the purpose of the grant. The 5 limbs for which you have, received the foreign contribution. It might be a genuine cause that you might have, if you receive for educational purpose, you cannot spend it towards the social aspect because it is received only to spend towards the educational. Even if your cause of spending it for a social cause is genuine, you cannot do it. It is a violation. You need to, if you receive for educational purpose or cultural purpose or economical purpose, for that specific purpose itself, you need to spend the foreign contribution. Avoid cash withdrawals and payments. There is absolutely no need for me to dwell into this further, whether it is income tax or whether it is GST or whether it is same holds good for FCRA also. It is a gray area any day. Foreign contributions, please ensure that whatever you receive, whatever you spend, it is only through banking, proper banking channels and not in cash. Do not avoid filing your quarterly returns. The due date is 15 days from the end of the specific quarter. They ask limited details in that quarterly return, name of the donor, how much you have received. So please ensure that you file it correctly. Otherwise, reconciliation will become an issue and you can receive notices for that. Foreign in the quarterly returns, you have if you have uploaded only 10 line items, and in the annual return when you are filing at the end of the year, you go ahead and put 50 line items that have received so many things during the year. Obviously, there is a reconciliation issue and they will scrutinize further. So ensure that on a quarterly basis. That is why specifically I told you, as soon as you receive the donation or even before receiving the donation, please have all the details of the donor, the purpose, the address, the email ID, whatever they are asking in the FC4 form and the quarterly returns. Have a checklist, send it to the donor so that you have the complete details. Do not forget to collect the FIRCs. We have seen many organizations who fail to collect this. Only in the FIRC copy you can make out the purpose for which it is received. And nowadays the banks are also, it was one-off case, the bank was not willing to give. So finally we told them at least to give an advice so that I have the specific purpose. Otherwise, certifying the FC4 and issuing a certificate for this will become very difficult. You need to insist your client to get a proper FIRC certificate, or worst case scenario, at least an advice from the bank which clearly specifies the donor name, the country of origin, the address of the donor and the purpose for which it is received. So this was my presentation today. I hope all the members have got a brief view on the amendments, and thank you very much. Over to the chairman and Panindra. We can open the Q&A now. If anyone can moderate, I'll be able to happy to answer the questions of the members.
Rahul sir.
Yeah. Where can I see the questions, Panindra?
Yeah, in that dots, if you click, you have Q&A sessions after chat box.
Okay.
We have around 17 questions. So
Okay. Can we go one by one?
Yeah.
If you can.
You're able to see, sir?
Yeah. So first one is from Shalini Bhatt. Is that the first question? If you can confirm.
Just 1 second. I think Varada Narayanan Sriraman.
Okay, then if you can tell me the question, I'll be able to answer. That's better.
Sure, sir. Okay, the question is like, should the balances to be transferred to SBI New Delhi?
Absolutely not. It is a new bank account that you have to open, FC bank account. It is a new FC bank account that you need to open in SBI New Delhi. There is no question of transferring the existing balance to that. Whatever you have received, you need to utilize. And once you open, you need to the further whatever foreign contribution you are going to receive, you need to receive in SBI and then transfer it to the utilization account. You need not transfer the existing unutilized account to the SBI account.
Okay. The next question is from Sri BB Chandragi. Sir, whether balance sheet outstanding is existing designated account needs to be transferred to main New Delhi account?
No, sir, you need to spend it. That's what I'm telling. It can be transferred to the utilization account and you can keep it in the utilization account. You need not transfer it. There is no provision. You cannot transfer it from, back to SBI account. In the SBI account, all that you can receive is only foreign contribution. Nothing else you can receive. So if you have any unutilized amount, whatever are your, utilization bank accounts, you need to keep the balances in those specific projects and then utilize whenever, the project envisages or requires.
Okay. So next question is from Srinivasan sir. So why are public servants prohibited from receiving foreign contributions? What are the reasons behind this embargo?
If you go to the basic concept, whatever I covered, the whole purpose of bringing out this FCRA Act and the regulation, it is for protecting the national interest, so that no foreign entity or no foreign organization has a say in these specific aspects. If you see the FCRA, the whole concept of FCRA Act came into picture during the time of emergency. So to ensure that the foreigners do not have any specific say on the cultural, economical, educational, and the other limbs. That is the reason for prohibiting the public, because they are part of the government. Public servants are nothing but part of the government. So nothing should influence them. No foreign entity or organization should influence the public servants or the judges or the officers of the Navy, military, and therefore that is the main reason for putting an embargo on the public servants from receiving FCR.
Okay. Next question is from Niranjan Krishnan. So can a trust have an MOU with a smaller NGO to get the work done?
Absolutely not. You cannot. That concept was made very clear. Only the FCRA registered organization, you cannot transfer it to any other person or any other association. If you receive in your trust, in your association, your company, you need to spend it yourself. You cannot transfer it to any other person or association.
Okay, again from Srinivasan sir, by limiting the research expenditure from 50% to 20% of the donations, it will be difficult to do any research work as they cannot collaborate with universities or research institutes. How to resolve this issue?
I do not have an answer. That is the repercussion, as I told you. From this amendment, this is one of the repercussions that or the impact that it is going to have. Whatever you spend for research, either they should come out with a clarificatory note telling that, if the research is towards the specific core object, then they should at least allow that to be part, they should remove it from the administration aspect. So if they consider it as a core aspect, then we can utilize for R&D and other things.
Okay. So again, one more question from Srinivasan sir. Since the FCRA funds have to come to just one bank, the State Bank of India in New Delhi, does it not amount to centralization? Does this not stifle the NGOs?
That was the main reason for the hue and cry and so much discussion and backlash and uproar when they announced this, amendment that you need to have only in one bank account. The reason that the government is giving is, as per the act, they want to be aware they should not want any foreign influence on the 5 limbs of the country, which is detrimental to the national. That is on the other side of the coin. On the reverse side, obviously there is, let us not go political and debate this. So There is no question like that. You have to follow what they have told now. That's all. You need to have it there. They want to monitor it. See, there was no, even in the designated FC account, already it was designated FC account. They could have got all the requirements, details from these specific designated accounts only. I don't know what was the so necessary for them to put every NGO organization to have in New Delhi itself. I am not sure about the intention.
Okay, so is there any minimum contribution required from a donor of, or can small contributions be received from relatives and friends without permission?
Yeah, 1 lakh rupees. That is the limit. If you receive more than 1 lakh rupees during the financial year, then you need to intimate using that specific form. Otherwise, there is no need of reporting or any prior permission or registration. You are free to get the gifts.
Okay, next question is from Prahlad sir. So what is the definition of administrative expenses? For example, our professional fees, audit fees, part of admin expenses.
Sir, the concept is very simple, sir. Even in the normal audits, what we categorize as a direct expenditure and indirect expenditure. Basically, in general words, if I have to say, all the if an NGO or a trust has different projects on the ground level and they also have a head office. So whatever expenditure incurred for that specific head office, for the managing committee and for the administrative staff, that is considered as a administration expenses, the rent of the head office, the electricity payment of the head office and those things. And for the specific project at the ground level, that is treated as a project expenditure.
Okay. Again, from BB Chandrangi, sir, if an entity is received the foreign contribution for achieving its objectives, not mentioning any project or activity, how it is to be reported?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
If an entity is received the foreign contribution for achieving its objectives, not mentioning any project or activity.
The purpose has to be mentioned. The purpose, either it's that specific 5 purposes that has to be mentioned. Otherwise, you cannot in the designated FCRA.
No, but they're asking about like particular project or activity. They're not mentioning, but objectives they are mentioning. Like
it's one of the 5 limbs they have to mention. And if you have different projects for that specific 5 limbs itself, you can utilize for any project that is left for you. But it should be for that specific purpose, for that 5 specific limbs.
Sir, as you told, if any foreigner donates in INR while in India, and how to deposit this in a main designated account?
You mean to, he has to transfer. If he is giving cash, that is since they have made as SBI New Delhi, you have to probably go to New Delhi and deposit. That's the only, this is one of the lacunas they have not thought about. If you are receiving in cash Indian rupees, you cannot, one more thing is you cannot deposit that Indian rupees in any other bank account because it is received from a foreigner. You need to deposit in the FCRA designated bank itself. Your designated bank is in New Delhi. You have to write to the Ministry of Home Affairs. There is no but technically, as per law today, you need to go to New Delhi, deposit in the FCRA designated account.
Okay. So next question is from again Prahlad sir. How the aggregators like Millop, Keto and all work? So they run fundraisers and get donations from foreign sources. Will that be violation of FCRA? So they are talking about Millop organization. That is a platform where they can NGOs will collect money, and Millop will charge some service charges, and then that amount will be given to the beneficiary, just like payment gateway.
Is it a foreign contribution that they are talking about, or the local?
Foreign contribution. If Millop gets the money from foreign contribution, whether will it be violation like that? They're asking.
If that specific, the person receiving the foreign contribution, that specific trust, whatever you called, I'm not aware of that specific, not able to see the question there. So that specific entity itself has to spend. The law now today prohibits from distributing it to different associations or persons.
No. Actually, what MILAP is a platform where NGOs will register with MILAP on behalf of NGO. So MILAP will provide payment gateway. So like if for this purpose they wanted to raise funds, MILAP will give one gateway. So any person can just go get into it, and in that link they can pay and then they can donate.
Okay.
So that amount will be given to the NGO by deducting some service charges by MILAP.
So this is okay. I understand. So it is only a payment gateway.
Yeah.
And you are receiving it in your account itself. Then there is no problem. You can utilize it. There is
MILAP will receive from foreign account, foreign donation, but MILAP will give directly to NGO.
That is not an FCRA registered. That is only a platform like Paytm and PayU Money and other stuff. So since it is only a platform, that is not having FCRA registration or utilizing for any purpose. That is acting as an agent, and so you have to have an FCRA registration. Once you receive, you are free to use.
Okay, but how these people? Because here again, MILAP will not give any account. So they will actually collect on behalf of them, and they will give the money. So foreign amount also they will get.
Sir, if it is working like that, that's not allowed, sir. If it is working like that, that is not allowed. As per the law, by the plain reading of the law, if you go, that is not allowed. If there was a platform like that, working like that, it's not allowed. That's it.
Yes,
or that MILAP itself should have been registered as
how it is working, we don't know. So
if that whatever organization name you are telling, if that itself is FCRA registered, and probably they were giving it to different NGOs for the specific implementation, that was allowed earlier as per the old act. Now it is not allowed, because you are not allowed to donate it to any other person on NGO. So whatever that organization is receiving foreign contribution, in their specific organization itself, they have to spend. They cannot give it to anyone else.
Okay. So next question is from Chandragi. Sir, if any person has received the foreign contribution without registration, what are the penal provisions?
There is a nice table with huge amounts and percentages. You can go to the rules and find out, but the penalties are huge, and it is a limited, double time the amount of foreign contribution received. If you have received 60,000, entire 60,000 you will have to pay as penalty. Those are the kind of things that are there. Since it is only a percentage arithmetical, you can go to the rules and check it out. I do not want to go to the details.
So next question is from Gauri. Sir, in case of an NGO earns professional income and receives the same from foreign source, how should this be considered under FCRA?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Can you repeat?
In case an NGO earns professional income and receives the same from foreign source.
You are getting a local professional income, huh?
Yeah, NGO is earning professional income, it seems.
Okay.
And that amount is received from foreign source. So how should this be considered under FCRA?
See, NGO or a trust having FCRA, they only receive foreign contribution and then spend it for the betterment of the society under the filings. So there is no question of getting professional income at all. I think there is some confusion. Or it can be a case where it is a local, local contribution, your local income. You need to keep the book separately. For foreign contribution, you need to receive separately. If you are receiving something locally, you need to maintain separate books of accounts and utilize it.
Okay. Next question is again from Gauri. What are the quarterly returns to be filed? In which form should it be filed, sir?
You go to the portal, in the new forms list that they have given, there is no specific form for filing the quarterly returns. But in the portal, if you go, there is a specific option for you to go and click and there one more thing I forgot to mention, this quarterly returns that are there are two options for the, associations or the NGOs. They can either, whatever foreign contribution they have received, they can publish in their website. They need to have a tab called foreign contribution and they need to publish in their specific website. That is also allowed. In case you are not, uploading the details of foreign contribution, every quarter within 15 days from the end of the quarter, if you are not uploading it in your website, then only you need to do, file the quarterly filing. There is no specific form as of now. I showed you the new forms. There is no specific form for quarterly filing, but there is a tab. When you log in, there is a tab for quarterly filing. The amounts received, the person from whom it is received will be captured on a quarterly basis that you need to file.
Sir, how government distinguishes the amount received in foreign currency as contribution or loan?
How is the
how government distinguishes the amount received in foreign currency as contribution or loan?
It is very simple. It is a purpose. Anyone has to mention the purpose for which they are transferring. Then there is no question. You cannot, in the FCRA designated account, you cannot receive any loan. It is only contribution and donation that you can receive, and the donee has to mention the purpose for which he is donating. So there is no question. This situation does not arise.
Okay. Next question is from Krupa. If an employee of a foreign entity is working in India on-site assignment and he gets an amount from the employer for any medical treatment, will it be considered as foreign contribution? What are the implications?
So that person, the foreigner is in India. Is that what they are telling?
If an employee of a foreign entity is in India on on-site assignment, so and gets an amount from the employer for any medical treatment. So employee is getting money for medical treatment.
No, that is not covered. It is only, if an Indian citizen is going abroad, it is applicable to Indian citizen. For foreign citizen, if when he is coming to India from this foreign country, if he is getting anything, that is not covered under the FCRA Act. If an Indian citizen going abroad, if he received any medical aid or foreign hospitality, then that is covered. A foreign citizen is not covered.
Okay. Next question is from Anand. Violations of FCRA, only penal provisions or there is any prosecution provisions, and what is the level of prosecution in case of violation?
As I told you, there is a beautiful table, sir. There is a prosecution also. It is there for few of the violations. You can 100% go to that, and you will be, you will attend my session once again if you go through the, penalties and penal provisions.
So next question is from Mani. So can we get general donations of small amounts and from various donors other than the specific donation under FCRA?
There is no monetary limit as such for receiving. Even if someone wants to donate 100 rupees, 200 rupees in foreign currency, they can donate. There is no monetary restriction as such.
So next question is from Jayakumar. So whether donations in foreign currency received will come under FCRA?
100% it will come to any donation.
Can the SBI main account have zero balance, sir?
It is not there in SOP, but I think it is allowed. There is no minimum balance requirement. They have not mentioned anything in this aspect. I think it is allowed to have zero balance.
So next question is from Mr. Pramod. So I have a question with section 12.4b. Does it means that any new company cannot get FCRA registration because the 3 years 15 lakhs criteria will not be fulfilled?
After they have mentioned that 3 years of minimum establishment and the 15 lakh they should have spent on core activity, there is one more sentence after that. Only in exceptional situations and with the permission of the central government, you can get a registration. So you have to go under that category and give a special request to the government. And if they are satisfied with your, with the activity that you are doing, then 100% you can get it. But that is only an exception.
Okay. Again from Pramod, if not, does it mean that a new company cannot accept foreign donations until then?
100% you cannot receive even 1 rupee without getting an FCRA registration, or if it is a short period or for specific project, you need to get a prior permission.
Okay. So next question is again from Jayakumar. If the purpose of receipts requires change, is there a chance to get permission for some other purpose?
100%, but it should be within that 5 limits. There is a form, as I told you, I think it is 3A or 3B. So if you, sorry, 6A or 6B, in that there is a provision for change in the name, objects and address of the trust. So if your object change, you can apply in that and you can get the registration for the different object.
Oh, sir, what is the position of retired public servant?
Retired public servant, the law is silent on that, sir. Only if you are serving in the government, only if you are actively in the service, I think it is barred from receiving foreign contribution. I think if you have retired and not in active service, I think you are free to receive foreign contribution and spend it for the betterment of society.
Again, gift or inherited property to sister or brother, whether attracts compliance under the Act. Gift of inherited property.
It is being received from a foreign source. Now, when I say a foreign source, if your brother or sister is located outside India and is not a citizen of India, he has taken up US citizenship or Australian citizenship, and if he is donating anything to you, 100% it will be covered under FCRA rules and acts. But if your brother or sister staying abroad, if he continues to be a citizen of India, he is only a non-resident, but he is continuing to hold Indian citizenship. If you receive, whatever movable property from him, then that is not covered. Citizenship of from the person from whom you are receiving is important.
Sir, is there any way we can increase 20% limits?
Absolutely not. You have to meet Motabai, Amit Jha.
Sir, can you brief the penalties and others? Like again and again, they are asking about penalties.
Since it is only, there is nothing, technical in that. It is, they have clearly listed out. So that is why I did not cover in my presentation. Probably after, if I can get the mail IDs, I can mail it to, there is a simple chat that is there. As I told you, I can mail it to all the attendees of the session.
So you can send it across, sir. We can upload to this presentation itself.
100%. So I'll add it to the presentation and.
Sure. Sir, the NGO has earned a professional income outside India, incidental to receiving grants for some consultancy services. How should this be considered under FCRA?
You're not supposed to do anything like that. That's what I'm telling you. The whole purpose is, there is no, if it is incidental, then it becomes a local source. And in your case, you are telling in a foreign country. Basically, the first and foremost point is whatever foreign contribution you receive, you have to spend it within India. That is one of the main conditions. You cannot, for the whatever foreign contribution you have received, you cannot spend it outside India. First point. Now, in this case, they are telling you received some consultancy income outside India. Now, if you want to bring it here, then these provisions will be applicable. Otherwise, it will not be applicable. If you bring it to India, and then it will be applicable. But you have to ensure that you cannot do any business once you get in that specific trust or NGO, or at least in that vertical, you cannot do. Even a company, under section, whatever company, as I told you, an individual company, they can also get FCRA, but you need to maintain separate books. So if you ask me, this consultancy income that you have got separately, it should not form part of this one, and you need to maintain it separately.
Okay. Sir, if a public servant is one of the members of the governing body council of an NGO, then will such NGO be prohibited from accepting foreign contributions?
No, sir. If the government servant in his personal capacity is not supposed to receive foreign contribution, but nothing stops him from being a trustee or a board member, executive member of the trust, and the trust, if it has foreign contribution registration, it is free to receive.
Okay. Sir, in case of an individual, how government distinguishes the amount received in foreign currency as contribution or loan from a relative or a friend? You can send question.
It's like, even in income tax while filing, it is self-declaration that you do. If they find out that, it is not for the specific purpose, then they can levy the penal provisions. That's all.
Any receipt in foreign currency is considered as foreign donation. So, I think any receipt in foreign currency is considered as foreign donation. So that's the question.
If it is if you whatever foreign currency you're receiving, if it is towards commercial transaction, it doesn't come under the specific law. If it is for non-commercial transaction like this donation receiving, then it forms part of what we are speaking today, and you need to get permission or registration you need to receive, and then do the filings and other stuff.
Okay. So I think only we have this many questions, sir.
Okay.
So yeah, just 1 second, sir. Is there any questions in chat box? We'll see. I think one more question. So taxation has deferred the registration and approval of charitable trust to 1st April. Impact on the 12-year registration. What is the impact on the 12-year registration?
We are not speaking, see, income tax and 12A 80G gets covered under the CBDT and the Income Tax Act. That has got nothing to do with, FCRA Act or the rules. So I think that answers. So that is separate. Whatever, prerequisites there for 12A 80G are separate. For the FCRA, it is separate. Two different things.
Okay. Fine, sir. I think only we have this many questions. So, Kore sir, are you there, sir? Okay. Fine, sir. No problem. So, on behalf of Bangalore branch,
Yeah.
over to Kore sir.
Rahul, I think it's the first time addressing in Bangalore branch.
Yes, sir. I did for Rotary Club and then Joseph's and other places have spoken,
Yeah.
but Bangalore branch first time.
Yes, it's a Bangalore branch for a proud moment that we are introducing a new speaker and the talent. That is initially I told Jnana Dasoha objective is that Jnana should come from anywhere, any corner. So thank you, Rahul, for addressing, and it's a new topic. Definitely because it is always connected to charitable institutions, and again there will be a simple that it's not easy. My friend is staying in foreign and he wanted to transfer money, and that's not an easy course. Actually, earlier we are planning for some workshop model of course in this FCRA and all, because there are a lot of scope is there for the members, but we have to look on that area. Definitely, we are waiting for 2021. Let's hope this pandemic will go in 2021 at least. Upcoming chairman and we are all committee waiting for that to have more sessions on that. So on behalf of Bangalore branch, I am very much thank you for addressing our members. Dear members, as I informed, tomorrow's session is also from a topic from GST, and it is critical issues from Shailesh Seth, advocate from Mumbai. Is a very renowned speaker. Kindly registered in because in due course we are sending the link. With that note, I thank again CA Rahul for addressing all our members, and also thanking all the members for your active participation. I request CA Panindra Gupta to render the formal vote of thanks to the speaker and members. Over to Panindra.
On behalf of Bangalore branch and entire managing committee of Bangalore branch of SRCF ICAI, I thank CA Rahul, today's speaker, for deliberating wonderful session on recent amendments of FCRA, and all the speakers, all the viewers who attended today's session and made this Dasoha 90th session very memorable event. And thank you once again for all the audience and also speaker for attending today's session, and keep watching Dasoha sessions. So thank you so much, one and all.
Yeah, Rahul, and you get to start for the cricket tournament. We are organizing on 9th January. We are in the city. We have not got any cricket ground. We are going around 25 kilometers around from Bangalore. So after tax audit, we need to play. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the members for patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.